Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Edgerly, Executive Director for the Alzheimer's Association here in Northern California and Northern Nevada. We are almost to November, can you believe it? Time is flying this fall. And I don't know if you all know that November is Caregiver Month. So I started off today's Facebook Live with a question, what is a caregiver? Which might sound like an odd question, but actually we often see that people don't identify themselves as a caregiver, myself included. I actually signed up for a study through Trial Match, and when I was talking to the individual who was doing the survey with me, at the end of it she said, oh, you're a long-distance caregiver. And even in my role with the Alzheimer's Association for over 25 years, I never thought of myself as a long-distance caregiver. But in fact, that's what I am. I care for my mom long distance in the state of Maine. Anyone who supports another individual living with Alzheimer's or any other type of dementia, who helps them with their daily life, whether it's paying bills, whether it's getting services, whether it's sending love their way, or even the direct hands-on care, we are all caregivers. So November is Caregiver Month. And what we want you all to know is you are not alone. You do a tremendous service. Many of us do it as a daughter, a sister, brother, husband, friend, and it's such an amazing thing that you do on behalf of that individual living with and trying to live well with Alzheimer's and dementia. I want to actually do a personal thank you to my sisters and my brother, my siblings who helped me as a caregiver. We all tried to jump in and help from a distance, and I can't imagine doing it without them. I also want you to know that we are here for you too if you're a caregiver. If you need to talk with someone who understands, call us, attend a support group, go to a class. There are resources out there to help you be as successful as you can. So you may or may not know that we have over 150 support groups in Northern California and Northern Nevada, and they're full of wonderful people just like you who've been through this and have some ideas to share, maybe about local resources, things they've tried that worked well. Check it out and see if it's a fit for you. And don't forget, you can always call us and we're there to help you talk through a situation, see if you've missed anything. Sometimes just hearing that you've thought of all the same things that we're thinking of helps you know you're doing the best you can. And last but not least, we have some classes. We have one course in particular I want to highlight, our effective communication classes. I recommend that every caregiver goes through this to understand strategies for how to communicate effectively with their loved ones. This was helpful for me as well. We go through our whole lives communicating with our loved ones in ways that don't necessarily work well when they have dementia. And so finding some new and different approaches is highly recommended. So check it out. Also, we have some events coming up. In San Francisco on October 28th, we have our Chinese Forum in San Francisco. It's available in English and Chinese. November 3rd, our Central Valley Caregiver Conference. December 3rd, our Circle of Care Conference in San Mateo. I'll be there. If you come, say hi. I'd love to meet you. And last but not least, up in Yountville, beautiful location, December 7th is our annual conference. Great way to meet other people and learn some new strategies. So check it out. All right, some of you have heard about this little event called the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Well, boy, we have had a lot. So far we've had 16 of our 18 walks. So if you are up in the North Bay, if you live in Solano County or near Solano County, join us on Saturday. I'll be there. Love to meet you there. Or San Francisco, one of our biggest walks, November 10th. Now, many of you have already participated in a walk. Thank you for doing so. I want to let you know that fundraising actually continues through the end of December, and we could still use your help in achieving our goal. Our goal is to raise over $6 million. Some of our walks have hit goal, but a lot of them have a little room for growth. So here's one tip. Here's one thing I did after I did my walk, which happened to be the Silicon Valley walk. I posted a picture of my team with a link to my Facebook fundraiser so people could give. Because chances are people often look at emails from you or Facebook posts and they think, I'd really like to support Elizabeth, and then they promptly forget about it. And so posting a link and just saying, hey guys, my goal is $10,000, which actually was my goal, and I'm $100 away, which is true. Posting that, I might just get someone to give me $50 or maybe even that last 100. So try it out. It's easy and it really, really works. Now, what does the money go for? The money raised at the walk powers the Alzheimer's Association across the country. It is what allows us to offer 24/7 services, to offer support groups, classes, conferences. It funds public policy activities, communications, and it funds research. So every part of our mission is powered by the funds raised at the Walk to End Alzheimer's. So thank you to all of you who have participated. Please don't give up. We need your help to hit that finish line, and thank you so much for participating in that. You guys are awesome. It's my favorite time of year to get to meet so many people. You're truly an amazing group. If you're just joining us, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Elizabeth Edgerly with the Northern California, Northern Nevada chapter. Some of you heard the sad news that just came out this week about Sandra Day OConnor. She shared that she is living with dementia, probably Alzheimer's disease, and she has announced that she is stepping back from public life. This is especially sad to hear. Sandra Day OConnor retired to care for her husband who had Alzheimer's as well. That was many years back. It might even be 10 years ago. And now to see that she too is affected by dementia is sad. She is a true hero and champion by sharing her diagnosis in such a public way. It immediately raises awareness and helps to address the stigma that many people feel where they're afraid to share their diagnosis because they think it may diminish them. In my mind, it raises you up. You truly, those of you who have shared your diagnosis are an inspiration to all of us and help everyone know that it's okay to share and people will support you in doing so. One of the things in her letter, if you got a chance to read Sandra Day OConnor's letter to the world, she talked about how her life has been dedicated to civic engagement and teaching young people. I mention that because November 6th is voting day, so get out there and vote. Your voice matters. You can ask politicians, you can ask legislators, what are you going to do about Alzheimer's disease? So your voice matters, and we want you to get out there and vote. It makes a difference. There's also some other opportunities coming up. For those of you in California, we invite you to join us February 5th for State Advocacy Day in Sacramento. It's fantastic. You don't have to feel nervous about it. We will train you on what our asks are of our state legislators. It's wonderful. You're part of a team, and I highly, highly recommend it as a way to put your toe in the water and get involved in advocacy. We also have our State Advocacy Day in Nevada, in Carson City on April 16th. Same thing, we'll help you be successful. And last but not least, if you want to go to the big game, go to Washington, D.C. to the Public Policy Forum, March 31st through April 2nd. It is incredible. To me, it's been the most impactful meeting of my life to go to the Public Policy Forum and see thousands of people like you all together, united to try to change the future for generations and improve life today for those living with dementia. If you haven't already become an advocate, guess what? It's easy. Go to our website, alz.org/advocate. We have over 750,000 people signed up as advocates. Now, why does that matter? It's that power of people sharing their voice that has helped us get to the highest levels of funding where we're at today. Over $2.3 billion in federal funds have happened because of this and the Alzheimer's Impact Movement. So get involved. We need your help. Next thing, news that has come out. This week was a busy week. Last week, the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, and the Alzheimer's Association unveiled the new roadmap to a healthy brain. This is the Healthy Brain Initiative. And this is a document that might not look like you want to sit in bed and read necessarily, but this is so important because it talks about how state and local public health departments can get involved in trying to change the future for people with regards to Alzheimer's. So I want to share a little bit with you. When I first started with the Alzheimer's Association over 20 years ago, I didn't really understand public health, and I didn't understand why they weren't involved in our work very much. But the more I learned, I understand better that they focus on things that can be changed. So we know that if you quit smoking, your health will be better. If you get a flu shot, you're less likely to die from influenza, which was a major issue. Clean drinking water makes a difference. Lead paint, all of these things have been tackled by public health and sharing messages about how to avoid difficulties through changing behavior. Well, now comes in Alzheimer's. For a long time, the view was, well, there's not a whole lot you can do to reduce your risk of developing Alzheimer's and dementia. We know that picture is changing. Those of you who have heard me speak on this before heard recently that controlling your blood pressure to 120/80 has an impact on risk of dementia, and that's something that public health departments can sink their teeth into and spread that message. Exercise seems to make a difference. So work out 3 or 4 times a week, try to get up to 150 minutes. The MIND diet, you might know the Mediterranean diet. It's very much like the Mediterranean diet with a DASH diet as well, so low salt, again, focused on blood pressure and cardiovascular health. Sleep, making sure that you're getting a good night's sleep and addressing issues related to insomnia. That's another piece of information we have. And potentially cognitive engagement or lifelong learning. Trying to not sit and maybe watch reality TV on the couch, and instead get on the treadmill, eat some dark green leafy vegetables, pay attention to your blood pressure, and get a good night's sleep. Those are the kinds of things we need to do. I wanted to share with you that the Alzheimer's Association has a journal. I don't know if you knew that, but we have Alzheimer's and Dementia. This is the journal of the Alzheimer's Association. And there was just a study that shared about sleep disturbance, and what they found is in midlife, those of us who have insomnia have a somewhat higher risk of developing dementia. In later life, those of us who have what's called terminal insomnia, that's that early morning wakening, that appears to have a bit of a risk. The reason I'm mentioning this is that I just want to encourage everyone to do what they can to have good sleep hygiene. If you have sleep apnea, if you're snoring, if you're having the early waking or difficulty falling asleep, please talk to your doctor. If we can address that, we can potentially increase the likelihood that you will maintain your brain health throughout your lifetime. So check that out. All right, last bit of scientific news I have for you is Band 2401. If you're just joining us, welcome to Facebook Live. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Edgerly with the Alzheimer's Association here in Northern California and Northern Nevada. Band 2401 was the drug study that came out in July at AAIC, our international conference, that looked promising. It really hit the news as something that at the highest doses appeared to have an impact compared to placebo of slowing the progression of the disease. Now, there was a bit of controversy about this drug study, and there continues to be controversy, but there was just this week a new update about this, and the researchers have looked even more deeply into the results, and what they're finding is that, first off, they need more people to volunteer for studies, and what they need to do is look at groups according to who has the risk factor gene for Alzheimer's, the E4 gene, and who doesn't. So comparing those two groups and seeing in the highest dose group, does it make a difference? It appears in the early results with very small sample sizes that people who have the E4 gene possibly might respond even better to Band 2401 than those who don't. But these are small numbers. So what we know is they're continuing to work on this drug. They're going to hopefully be enrolling larger studies, more people, to see if we can figure this out. So stay tuned. We're not on the cusp of this drug being approved. It's still too early to tell, but we're interested in hearing more about that drug. Last but not least, I'm talking a lot about research. I also shared with you that I volunteered for a study. That's how I learned I was a caregiver. The way I did that was at our website, alz.org/trial match. Actually, I just lied. I did it over the phone. I called our 800 number, and I think the first prompt is press 1 for trial match for clinical studies, and I did that. It was really easy. What you can do is, if you go through this process, you'll fill out a very brief survey, and you will see a personal list of studies you match to. We need healthy volunteers, we need caregivers, and we need people at risk for developing Alzheimer's or people living with Alzheimer's or other dementias. So if you haven't signed up for Trial Match, please do. It makes a big difference. And it's up to you. Once you see your list, you get to decide, of course, if you're interested in participating in those studies. Thank you all for joining us for today's Facebook Live. We'll be back next month in November. You'll see it popping up in your Facebook feed. I hope you can join us. Have a wonderful end of October, beginning of November, and I'll see you at a walk near you. Take care. Bye-bye.